This is KRIS 6 News at 6. From KRIS 6 News, this is your tropical update brought to you by the law offices of Herman & Herman.
Hello and thank you for joining us today on KRIS 6 News at 6. On our social media platforms, we are continuing to watch Beta in the Gulf of Mexico, tracking every move that storm makes. That's how we begin our newscast today on social media and on our app. Dale is here with us on the other side of the studio. Dale, what can you tell us about Tropical Storm Beta at the moment?
Thank you, Javier. Yes, indeed, we are tracking the tropics with Javier. And the Beta, and this is what's going on right here. We do have, and this is the reason I'm in the studio today, we do have a tropical storm watch for most of the viewing area, including Corpus Christi, and a hurricane watch from Port Aransas northward all the way up to Galveston and Houston. And as far as what that means, a watch means that that's issued 48 hours in advance for possible hurricane force winds of 74 miles an hour. Now, the Hurricane Center has backed off on making Beta a hurricane. So that's a little bit, they're overwarning is what's going on there. I hope that doesn't add to any confusion. And then a tropical storm watch means that's issued 48 hours in advance for about 40 to 50 mile an hour winds or higher possible. We're talking about gust here for us. So that's why we're alerting you to the possibility of this happening. But the storm track is going through some changes now, and that's good for us. There's still a storm surge warning out for most of the coast from Baffin Bay northward, where the water could rise 2 to 4 feet above ground level as this system turns to the west. So let's take a look at it here on the satellite depiction. Again, this is Tropical Storm Beta. And there is a lot of convection firing over this top of the center of circulation right here this afternoon. But most of this is extending off to the north and east into the southeastern U.S. and Florida. We are on the back or dry side of this right now, and this is going to turn eventually to the west, northwest, and northwest, and as it does so, pass north of Corpus Christi. So the latest position on this has 60 mile an hour winds with gusts to 70. The pressure is 994 millibars, and the movement is nearly stationary right here at, again, advisory of 4 o'clock. So that's what we're looking at right now, and we'll have more on this in a few minutes. But right now there's not a whole lot to worry about, but we are going to see a little bit of wind, a little bit of storm surge, and a little bit of rain, but not a lot. That's the key, and I'll explain more about that in a few minutes.
All right, Dale, thank you so much. And that seems to be just the truth right now. It seems like this is the calm before the storm. Beach cities such as Port Aransas are noticing a big change out in the water, causing many visitors to even turn around and go back home. And that is what is going on at Tony Amos City Beach in Port Aransas. And that's what we spoke to visitors. And that's right. And that's how that situation happened. Now, we do want to go ahead and check the situation out right now. We do see that those tides were very, very high. A lot of visitors saying, you know what, we're going to pack up and go back home because of this situation. Those tides, again, people are still swimming, but officials are warning everybody to stay safe and try to avoid swimming at the moment. Let's go ahead and take a listen from one person who says that they're packing up and going home.
Waves are a lot of fun, but once they're up to your waist, you really have a hard time not being sucked back out or over. To me, it's safety first, especially since we have the kids with us. So I'd much rather get ahead of the weather.
All right, and there you heard it at around 3 p.m. Mayor of Port Aransas, Charles Bouillon, has released a proclamation of disaster saying extraordinary measures need to be taken. We spoke to the mayor over the phone, and he says the city is getting ready to close the beaches this evening until further notice. And coming up tonight at 10, Jeremiah Marshall is actually there, and he's going to hear, or you're going to hear from a resident who's trying to sell her home, yet shares how nervous she is with this storm and what it can do and what damages it can cause to that home that she's trying to go ahead and sail. But remember, you need to stay here to KRIS 6 News so that you can catch all of that information. And Governor Greg Abbott says the state is putting its resources on standby all along the Gulf Coast should there be a need. Now, some of those resources include urban search and rescue teams, mobile medical units, and strike teams with the Department of Health. It also includes boat teams, helicopters from Parks and Wildlife, and units from the Department of Public Safety. Again, Governor Greg Abbott and his team are closely monitoring this storm, as well as local leaders on the Gulf Coast to determine what needs to be the next step.
From KRIS 6 News, this is your Tropical Update, brought to you by the law offices of Herman & Herman.
And remember, here in KRIS 6 News, we are providing the latest information on what's going on the Gulf, especially with the tropical storm that's brewing out there now. Dale is back with a full report, a full look at the weather forecast, and a full look at the track. Dale, where is that storm heading?
It's headed for the middle Texas coast, but north of Corpus Christi. I want to apologize for this being in Spanish, but we've had some problems here switching studios and so forth. So again, that's what's going on here where you see that. But it's Tropical Storm Beta. It's stationary right now. And this is a satellite depiction of it on Beta. And as I mentioned earlier, there is some convection that is fired this afternoon over the center, and that's probably why it is on the stationary side. And as you can see here, the shear is going off to the right or into the southeastern U.S., the Florida Panhandle, eastern Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. That's where all the rain is. It's not here in the coastal bend. The dry air has come in on the back side of this, and we'll be able to see that in a minute. Again, this is the position of Beta, and the forecast track takes us. This is going to be, here it is, 65-mile-an-hour winds. This is tomorrow afternoon. This is tomorrow night and into Monday at 1 o'clock, still a tropical storm with 75-mile-an-hour winds. And then it goes up into the coast around Palacios. And this is going to be on Tuesday at 1 p.m. So it's going to be inland then. So the movement of this is going to push the water up along the coast. And that's where the storm surge warning comes in of 2 to 4 feet. It's going to be more to the right of the center and less down here towards Corpus Christi. So we're in a better position because unlike Hannah, where we were on the right front quadrant and it was tailing away from us to the south, this is going to be tailing away from us to the north, and we're on the better side. And it does not look like this is going to be as strong as Hannah. So that's a big difference right there. And then it's going to track off to the northeast along the coast of Texas, but weaken to 40 miles an hour by Wednesday afternoon. So here is the water vapor imagery. Again, you can see how the moisture is being sheared off to the right. Notice this dry air back here to the west. That dry air is coming into the storm, and that's what's inhibiting its development. And that's why the Hurricane Center has backed off from this morning saying 80-mile-an-hour winds on the forecast track to 70 now. 70 is still formidable, and that's what we want to watch out for in case this happens to change over time. Here's the future tracker on rain. Again, lots of speculation yesterday of 10 to 15 inches of rain, and that it looks like it's way, way overdone on some news outlets saying that. It's going to be on the upper Texas coast. Down here in the coastal bend, because our winds are going to be off the land, we are going to have to see a lot less rain. The only time we get big rains here is when our winds are out of the east or southeast or even south. But when we have winds off the land, we don't see a lot of rainfall here in the coastal bend. So the impacts look like this is headed to the middle Texas coast, but north of us, watch it closely. Storm surge and coastal flooding with higher than normal tides on area beaches, increasing wind. That'll happen tomorrow night and into Tuesday. Doppler radar shows no activity in the area now. It's all way out to the east of us into Louisiana. And with that, that system has stalled near that frontal system right there. And with the future tracker, again, you can see we've got in the morning clear skies, and then the showers come in the afternoon. And then you can see how we do get a band coming through here on Monday morning. So that's when we'll see some activity on Monday morning. And again, on Monday evening, some showers and thunderstorms. But rainfall amounts look like this across the region, and they're not looking like a whole lot, specifically anywhere from nothing all the way up to maybe an inch or two in some spots. The winds, they're going to be out of the north. Again, that's a drier direction off the land. We're not getting the interaction of the tropical Gulf of Mexico with that. And the northerly winds will be around 20 miles an hour. And then you're going to see the winds pick up here as we move into Monday and Tuesday. These are sustained winds, and we will have higher gusts that go with this. So watch the wind gusts. Again, you can see they're not a big problem here. And then they pick up in the afternoon and evening. And then you can see the winds pick up here to about 34 miles an hour by the time we get to Wednesday. So we are going to see some gusts up around 30, 40 miles an hour based on the current track of the storm. Here is the 7-day forecast tracking beta. And again, we've got those lovely Spanish names up there, but the bottom line is going to be 88 tomorrow, 84 then on Monday, 88 on Tuesday, and then you can see the temperature stay in the 80s. Lows will be in the upper 60s to mid 70s over the next 7 days. That's the way things are looking. Again, it looks like we're going to be okay with this storm. We'll continue to have updates as necessary and on the hour right here on KRIS 6. Javier?
All right, Dale, pretty cool bilingual skills there. Now, for the very latest information on this system, keep here on KRIS 6 News. You can also check out our website and social media platforms for all of the updates throughout the evening. Now, although this looks like it's going to be okay for our area, just make sure you're prepared, make sure you're staying safe from this storm just in case this were to change. But at the moment, just like Dale said, we are all right. Well, thanks for joining us on our social media platforms, and don't forget to join us on KRIS 6 News at 9 and at 10 for more on Beta and all of your local news. Have a great one.